How happy would I be to have a petite, cute boss? How happy I'd be. One morning, Shinozaki ran into his beautiful boss, Katase. She was squatting on the ground. She was chatting with a cat in the bushes. Shinozaki found her very cute. At work, Katase complained about her shoulders. Her shoulders hurt. When Shinozaki saw this, Shinozaki offered to give her a massage. Katase agreed without hesitation. Shinozaki couldn't help but think some strange images. In return, she offered to give Shinozaki a massage as well. Shinozaki was very happy. She's about to start a new program. Shinozaki was very nervous about it. At that moment, Katase approached Shinozaki. She told her about the first time she did a project report. She told her about the time she accidentally reversed her presentation. Seeing that Shinozaki was still nervous, Katase drew a spell on his hand to help ease his mind. Looking at Katase, who was so close to him, Shinozaki was so shy that he couldn't speak. Katase realized that Shinozaki was close to Ms. Hayakawa at work. Shinozaki explained that they'd been neighbors since childhood. They'd been friends since childhood. After Shinozaki said that, Katase had a strange look on her face. She said she envied Shinozaki. Just when Shinozaki thought that Katase was jealous, she said, "I envy Shinozaki for being friends with Hayakawa." She thought Hayakawa was very cute. Shinozaki was speechless. He thought he was overthinking it. When Shinozaki was working late, Katase would bring him drinks. She'd help him with the paperwork for his poor subordinate. In return, Shinozaki decided to treat Katase to dinner. It was a windy night. Shinozaki saw how thin Katase was dressed. Shinozaki didn't hesitate to take off his coat. He threw it over Katase. Katase felt the warmth of Shinozaki's coat. She felt as if she was being held in Shinozaki's arms. Her face turned bright red. In order not to let anyone see anything unusual, she returned the jacket immediately. After a meal, their relationship grew stronger and stronger. The next day at work, Shinozaki ran into Katase again. Katase was the same as last time. She was teasing a cat on the sidewalk, but this time, the cat wasn't there. Katase searched for the cat for a long time, but couldn't find it. When she realized Shinozaki was behind her, Katase shyly jumped up and hit him. The scene changes. Shinozaki is at work. He realized that Katase was under his desk. He was shocked. She dropped her pen. She went down to pick it up. Katase was clumsy. She tried to get out from under Shinozaki, but her hands slipped. Her breasts hit Shinozaki's lower body. Shinozaki almost stood up on the spot. A co-worker was passing by. Seeing Shinozaki and Katase in this position, he immediately showed a bad smile on his face. To encourage Shinozaki, whenever Shinozaki finished his work, Katase would pet him on the head. The boss already knew there was something going on between the two of them. He'd show him how sweet they were every day. They spend all their time together, but he still won't admit that he likes them. As a fan of this couple, boss decided to help them out. He found Shinozaki and Katase. He asked them to find a good restaurant after work for future company gatherings. As they walked into the restaurant, the boss couldn't help but visualize what would happen next. The two of them hugging each other sweetly. The boss was just imagining it. Hayakawa appeared out of nowhere. At that moment, the boss suddenly remembered. Hayakawa and Shinozaki seem to be childhood friends. Is it possible that they're best friends? Did Hayakawa follow Shinozaki because he was jealous? They grew up together. The other one spends a lot of time together. Boss, I don't know which couple I should support. See? Hayakawa quickly explained that it wasn't like that. After all this time, Hayakawa doesn't even like Shinozaki. She's just here to watch the fun. On the other hand, Shinozaki and Katase entered the restaurant. They looked out the window and watched the night. In order to get a better view, Katase leaned on Shinozaki. After eating, it was already late. Shinozaki sighed at how quickly the good times had passed. When Katase heard that, she blushed. She thought Shinozaki was taking her to his house. And the next thing she knew, Shinozaki started talking, but he said he was taking Katase to the station. The next day, at the end of the day, it suddenly started raining heavily. Shinozaki saw Katase standing alone at the door. He thought she didn't have an umbrella. So, Shinozaki invited Katase to take the umbrella home with him. On the way home, Shinozaki made small talk. When they passed a library, Katase said she wanted to go in and study. She wanted to say goodbye to Shinozaki. Seeing that, Shinozaki gave Katase his umbrella. The next day, Shinozaki didn't come to work because he had a cold. Katase remembered that yesterday, Shinozaki gave her an umbrella. Shinozaki was soaking wet to give her an umbrella. She felt very sorry for herself. After work, she came to Shinozaki's house. She came to Shinozaki's house and bought a lot of ingredients. She not only cooked a delicious meal for Shinozaki, she even helped him with the housework, laundry and bedding. The most outrageous thing is, she even washed Shinozaki's underwear. Seeing Katase taking such good care of herself, Shinozaki wished he'd been sick all his life. I'm almost done. Favorite was about to leave. Shinozaki asked him why he was passing by his house. Katase excused himself as having a movie date with a friend, but Shinozaki just blew his cover. The next moment, she was so embarrassed that she ran out of the house. After she recovered, Shinozaki bought a gift for Katase. As a thank you gift, he approached Hayakawa. He asked her if she had any suggestions. Hayakawa found out about it. Hayakawa went to cook for Shinozaki herself. She made a decision right away. She asked Shinozaki to buy Katase an apron, so Katase could cook for him all her life. Shinozaki hesitated for a long time. He finally decided to listen to Hayakawa. He gave Katase an apron. He said he hoped she'd cook for him again. Katase shyly agreed. In fact, when Shinozaki first started working at the company, Shinozaki was assigned to Katase by the boss. Shinozaki saw the serious look on Katase's face. He thought she'd be very strict, but in fact, the reason why Katase had a serious look on her face, she's just trying to deal with her leader. When she first saw Shinozaki, she liked her subordinate very much. After helping Shinozaki connect to the network, Shinozaki immediately thanked Katase. Seeing a young and energetic guy, thanked him with a big smile on his face. Katase blushed, because Shinozaki was her first subordinate. That's why Katase had a special feeling for Shinozaki. After work, they came across a crane machine. Katase had no resistance to these furry toys. Katase has no resistance to such furry toys. She fell in love right away. When Katase heard Shinozaki say she looked like a cat, she blushed with shame. In fact, Shinozaki had always thought that there was very little difference between a cat and a kitten. They were both equally cute. In Katsu's opinion, Shinozaki was just like a dog. There's no one cuter than Shinozaki. Katase loves stuffed animals, so Shinozaki decided to get her 2 dolls. Shinozaki decided to grab 2 dolls for her. Shinozaki put coins in the crane machine. Shinozaki tried twice, but failed. This made Katase, an onlooker, feel very depressed. In order to get a cute doll, Katase was ready to continue. She took out 30,000 yen. He let Shinozaki try his hand at it. With Katase's money, Shinozaki pulled out a pair of dog and cat dolls. Seeing how cute the dolls were, Katase couldn't help but put himself in Shinozaki and herself into the dog and cat dolls. Not only did they name the dog and cat dolls, they not only named them like themselves, and Katase thought of the cat doll as the dog doll's boss. She thinks the 2 dolls need to be together all the time. If they were separated, they'll be lonely. When Shinozaki heard that, Shinozaki's face immediately turned red. The next day at work, I found Shinozaki and Katase. She asked them to help her teach her a lesson in love. It turns out, I wanted to make a love game, so she wanted them to share their experience. At that moment, Katase came over. As a big fan of this game, she offered to help, but unfortunately, including the first 2 brothers who came to help, all 3 of them have never been in love before. Letting a single person teach them about love, isn't this pure nonsense? At that moment, Shinozaki suddenly asked Hayakawa, "Don't you have a crush?" It's true. When Hayakawa first came to the company for an interview, her high heel broke off by accident. Luckily, the boss was kind enough to glue it back on. That's why Hayakawa's interview wasn't delayed. Since then, Hayakawa has been in love with her boss ever since, but she never had the courage to confess. Hayakawa questioned her sister. "Don't just ask us, tell us about your love story," she said. "If I had a love story, I wouldn't need to ask you 3 for help." When I got home, Katase saw that dog doll. She thought it looked like Shinozaki. No matter how she looked at it, she even changed her clothes in front of the doll. She felt uncomfortable in front of it. When she was moving the doll, Katase accidentally touched the cat doll to the dog doll, and the next moment, she imagined a big scene. She saw herself pinning Shinozaki to the ground, and then she kissed him. On Halloween, Katase found Shinozaki with a bunch of candies. Katase told Shinozaki, if you want to eat the candies, you have to say the Halloween password. While eating the Halloween candy, Katase wanted Shinozaki to feed him. Shinozaki managed to muster up the courage, but Katase was too slow. She snatched the chocolate and ate it herself. He was too drunk to eat the chocolates. Katase became a kissing maniac. She rushed to Hayakawa. She kissed her like a madman. The boss was watching the fun. He grabbed his cell phone and started snapping pictures. Shinozaki saw it. Katase likes to kiss when she's drunk. A strange thought came into his head. Does this mean he has a chance too? The next moment, Katase ran over to me. He said he had something to tell the boss. The look on Katase's face, Shinozaki's heart went cold. She's not going to confess to the boss, is she? But to everyone's surprise, Katase suddenly dropped to her knees. She started thanking the boss. The boss couldn't stand the sight of Katase. He pushed her right in front of Shinozaki. When Katase saw Shinozaki, she suddenly burst into tears. As a senior who had taken Shinozaki under his wing, Katase was so happy to see how much Shinozaki had improved. He was so happy to see Shinozaki's improvement. The boss silently took all the pictures. As the biggest fan of Katase and Shinozaki, the boss was really happy this time. On his day off, Hayakawa, an anime fan, dressed up in his cosplay costume. He was about to go to the Comic-Con, but as luck would have it, she ran into her boss, and the boss was Hayakawa's crush. There's absolutely nothing more horrible in the world. But the boss didn't laugh at Hayakawa. The boss didn't laugh at Hayakawa. Instead, he thought it was cool that she did it. The boss never had any hobbies before. That's why he envied Hayakawa. Hayakawa hoped that the boss would help her keep the secret. Seeing Hayakawa's pitiful expression, the boss's heart was softening, because she was so cute, because the boss knew her secret. These days, Hayakawa's thoughts were all about how to erase his boss's memory. All he could think about was how to erase the boss's memory. When she saw Hayakawa, she was so depressed. Katase thought Hayakawa was having trouble sleeping. She recommended Hayakawa a way to get to sleep quickly. At that moment, the boss approached Hayakawa. He wanted to have dinner with her after work, and he made sure to emphasize the meal. He chose a beautiful, quiet restaurant, and the meal would be private. When Hayakawa heard that, she was instantly embarrassed. Is the boss asking her out on a date? After work, Hayakawa arrived at the restaurant in full armor. When the boss saw her, he stammered and couldn't speak. He said that since that day, he said that ever since he saw Hayakawa at the Comic-Con, he thought she was very pretty. Every time he thought of that day, he couldn't stop getting excited. That was the first step to confessing his love. At that moment, Hayakawa even thought of a name for their child. But the next moment, the boss said, "I'd like to participate in a cosplay with Hayakawa." Hayakawa was a bit angry. She asked the boss why he didn't ask someone else if he liked cosplay. She asked him why he didn't go to someone else who liked cosplay. But the boss said, if he was to do a cosplay one day, if he ever did a cosplay, he wanted Hayakawa to be the one standing next to him. Hayakawa blushed and agreed. The boss said the same thing again. Hayakawa's pet phrase, "That's so cute." It made Hayakawa very upset.